Welcome to the show called Beyond Our Galaxy. On today's show, we're going to be talking about the following subject: Mars. There have been many different countries in the past that have studied the planet Mars without the use of a telescope. There have been many ancient countries, such as seen in the next few pictures, who observed Mars with their own eye. Ancient Egyptians in the 2nd millennium. Chinese astronomers in 1084 BC. Greek astronomers in the 16th century. Mars was discovered by astronomer Christian Huygens in 1659. Astronomer Huygens observed a feature in the next picture. A feature here where water that could possibly sustain Earthlings on Mars. Indeed, we Earthlings have for a long time a curiosity with Mars, much like we have with Earth's moon. The next few pictures will show you Earthlings the wonders of planet Mars. So just sit right down in your easy chair with your warm cup of coffee, relax, and enjoy. Indeed, Mars excites the heart and minds of Earthlings. People have even written books and radio plays about this curious planet. British author H.G. Wells, 1866 to 1946. This author wrote a science fiction novel about Mars and its aliens go to war with Earth. The War of the Worlds, a science fiction novel, written by H.G. Wells. Written in 1895, published in 1898. Wells portrayed in his scientific novel alien marshals attacking Earth with advanced weapons to destroy this planet. The next author wrote a radio play about the War of the Worlds. It was written as a radio play and is credited to the writer in the next picture. Orson C. Welles, 1950 to 1985. Orson Welles creates this radio play that aired on October 31st, 1938. With the radio play, millions of people accepted it was really happening in an emotional way. Here in this picture are the people who acted out the 1938 radio play War of the Worlds. This place was called Mercury Theater on the Air. These people practiced for the radio show for 13 weeks in the summer of 1938. The War of the Worlds did get the attention of lots and lots of people when it aired on October 31st, 1938. The next few pictures will show viewers of some of the imaginative destructions the Martians did. So just sit right down in your easy chair with your warm cup of coffee, relax, and enjoy. Hey gal, I have a question for you here. Go ahead, Nick, ask away. Do you believe little green Martians live on Mars? That's pure nonsense, Nick. It would be like believing another lie the world is flat. You rotten scoundrels, always meddling in other people's affairs. Touche, gal. Thanks for sticking up for old Chris here. One more question for you, gal. Go ahead, Nick. Fire away. Have you seen any kind of strange things that night? Just a wolf howling at the moon, Nick. Me oh my, now that sounds scary to me. Many Earthlings believe Martians live on this red planet because ice existed at the North and South Pole. And where there is ice, there could be water for Martians to live on. Earthlings had observed canal-like features as seen here in this picture. So, it was only natural for Earthlings to believe little Martians made these canals. And so, this is what Earthlings at one time envisioned what the planet Mars looked like. Astronomer Christian Huygens in 1659 observed an unusual feature about Mars. It was later called Situs Major. Italian astronomer Giovanni Schiaparelli in 1877 observed Mars. He noticed there were features called canals on it. Here's a map of Mars and its canals drawn by Italian astronomer Schiaparelli. Notice how much detail is shown on this map of Mars. No one knows for sure who discovered planet Mars, even though Christian Huygens gets credit for it. Mars is called the Roman god of war. And there have been many movies made about this red planet. The next few pictures will show some of these movies made about Mars. Just imagine, 1930, a young man falls in love with a woman. To prove his love for her, he flies to planet Mars in a spaceship with another person. On the way to Mars, they find a stowaway on board. This is the first science fiction musical movie ever made. Flight to Mars, 1951. A group of astronauts land on Mars. These astronauts find a civilization living underground that is dying. They try to help them to survive. Conquest of Space, 1955. A group of astronauts fly to Mars as the first interplanetary mission to another planet. They launch off from an orbital space vehicle located above Earth. They encounter many dangers within and without before they arrive to planet Mars. Hey Jack, did you see something over there? See what, Pete? I don't see anything over there. Over there, Jack. You don't see it? Hey guys, I think I've seen something behind some rocks here. You seen something too, Joe? Yes, it looks like a little green Martian, guys. Oh boy, I think I can use a vacation on Tress 4. Me too, Jack. I need a vacation back to Earth. Oh my, I think I'm seeing Earthlings here. I really must see the eye doctor again. Indeed, many astronomers and writers have tried to imagine what the planet Mars might look like if one were to visit there. Both the Russians and Americans after World War II had tried to be the first into space. As the Russian allies captured the east side of fallen Germany, some rocket scientists from Germany surrendered to them. As the American allies captured West Germany, it was a different story. The main rocket scientist, Wernher von Braun, and some of his colleagues would surrender to the Americans seen here in this picture. One could say that after the German rocket scientists surrendered to the side they chose, the race to Mars was on. So on October 4th, 1957, the Russians stunned the whole world. It launched the first space satellite Sputnik 1 some 359 miles above the Earth. The space probe was launched on a Sputnik P-52 rocket. Sputnik 1 space probe orbiting Earth in 1957. On April 12, 1961, the Russians once more stunned the whole world. Cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin is the first man to fly into space. He flies into space on a Vostok 1 space rocket. The Americans respond by sending astronaut Alan B. Shepard as the first American into space. Astronaut Shepard is taken into space on the Mercury Redstone rocket on May 5, 1961. Here's what kind of space capsule astronaut Shepard flew in while in space. The Russians once more stunned the whole world by sending the first woman into space. Cosmonaut Valentina Tereshkova becomes the first woman to fly into space. On June 16, 1963, Cosmonaut Tereshkova was launched on this Vostok 6 rocket. She spent 3 days into space and orbited Earth some 48 times. The Americans responded by sending a 2-man spacecraft into space on March 23, 1965. The 2 astronauts were launched into space on this Atlas Centaur rocket seen in this picture. Here's what the 2-man Gemini spaceship looked like seen here in this picture. Mission time 4 hours, 53 minutes, and 31 seconds. Gemini 3 astronauts are seen here in this picture. Astronauts John Young and Gus Grissom. While it appeared that the Russians were winning the race into space, someone else had a bigger dream for America. Dr. Wernher von Braun, pictured here with his colleagues, came up with a bigger dream. On July 15, 1969, America launches the rocket called the Saturn V rocket. This rocket would carry 3 American astronauts to one important destination: the moon. American astronaut Neil A. Armstrong would be the first Earthling to step foot on the Earth's moon. This happened on July 20th, 1969, and officially ended the race to the moon. On August 7th, 1969, the Russians make it to the moon with an unmanned space probe. This ends the race to the moon, but there is one more race taking place now. And so the race to Mars began between America and Russia. Only time will tell who will be the first ones of all the nations to land man on Mars first. Apollo 17 would be the last manned mission to the Earth's moon. However, America began to dream another kind of bigger dream. American scientists would have a vision of Mars as their next challenge. Planet Mars. Length of day, 1 day, 0 hours, 40 minutes. Size of planet Mars, 170 million miles big. Distance from the Sun, 141 million miles away. Distance from planet Earth, 33 million miles away. 4th planet from the Sun and 2nd smallest in the solar system. A terrestrial planet. Atmosphere is made up of carbon dioxide, also known as the red planet. Hey gal, I have another question for you. Go ahead, Nick. You know I enjoy having an intelligent conversation with you. Well, thanks, gal, for the compliment. No problem, Nick. What's your question? What do you think about all this new technology? I find it simply fascinating. Just think, Nick, we could have been more famous. What do you mean by that, gal? Well, just think, if we would have had the space telescope, we would have had more discoveries. And what would that mean for us, gal? We could have been rich and famous. We'd be more powerful. And what else would that gain for us, gal? I could have paid the Catholic Church off and I would never have been placed under house arrest. Man, you're really bent on that, aren't you, gal? You bet, Nick. Hey, Nick, I think I'm being abducted again by that UFO. Sorry, gal. I'm out of here again as well. Help me, Nick! And the journey continues. Indeed, man's mission to Mars got bigger and bigger. So Earthlings began to build and send space probes to the red planet to find out what it is really like. On November 1st, 1962, the Russians launched space probe Mars 1 into space. It comes within 6,800 miles from planet Mars. It quits working when the antenna cannot be trained at Earth to continue transmitting. The USA answered back by launching Mariner 4 into space on November 28, 1964. Mariner 4 travels as fast as 11,470 miles per hour across space. Mariner 4 arrives at Mars on July 14, 1956, flying around it and sending back pictures of Mars. The Russians would later on be sending 2 space satellites to Mars. These space satellites would be called Phobos 1 and Phobos 2. The Russians launched space probe Phobos 1 on July 7, 1988. Phobos 1 and 2 would be studying Mars moon called Phobos, as seen here in this picture. Russian space probe Phobos 1 orbiting the red planet. However, Phobos 1 failed to keep transmitting data back to Earth. Software malfunction on board was the blame for it. Phobos 2 was launched on July 12, 1988. The Phobos 2 space probe can be seen in the next picture. Phobos 2 was able to take pictures of the moon Phobos. It took some 37 pictures of Phobos before it stopped transmitting back to Earth. It stopped transmitting on March 27, 1989. Mariner 9 was launched by the USA on May 30, 1971. It was launched on a Centaur rocket as seen here in this picture. Mariner 9 spacecraft travels to planet Mars. It cost the USA a total of about $137 million to make it happen. Mariner 9 took some 7,329 pictures of Mars as it orbited. The mission ended on October 1972. With more information that we gained studying Mars with space probes, and with more knowledge about Mars, the truth about what planet Mars is like comes out. There are no metal creatures that are ready to invade planet Earth. Oh wow, guys, you take away all the fun from me. From the late 20th century to the now 21st century, Earthlings have come up with a more advanced way to explore Mars. We Earthlings now have the technologies and orbital landers to explore the very surface of Mars itself. We Earthlings now can send to Mars what are called rovers. These rovers can land on Mars, travel across the planet taking pictures and sampling the soil. Earthlings in the 20th century launched the space probe Viking 1 on a Titan IIIe rocket. Launch date August 20th, 1975. Viking 1 space probe arrived at planet Mars on June 19th, 1976. Last transmission date, November 13th, 1982. The 20th Century Earthlings next launched Viking 2 space probe. It is launched on this Titan IIIe rocket on September 9th, 1975. Viking 2 arrives at Mars on August 7th, 1976. Makes 706 orbits around Mars. Viking 2 lander touches down on Mars on September 3rd, 1976. Takes about 11,000 pictures of Mars. Last contact date, April 11th, 1980. The first Mars rover was this one called Sojourner. This was the first robotic-type lander of a rover on Mars. It weighed some 408 pounds. Sojourner's name is translated from the Bible as traveler. The word traveler comes from the book of Genesis and relates to the character named Abraham. The 21st century Earthlings next would send robotic rovers to actually land on planet Mars itself. The purpose of the rover missions were to explore the planet's surface. Oh my, the Earthlings are attacking us! What are you going to do about it, little green Martian? Oh my, Earthlings are so rude indeed. What are you going to do about it, little green Martian? Oh my, I must tell the Supreme Leader at once. We need to attack Earth. Oh, this is so much nonsense. Hey, Ptolemy, look out. Here they come. Run for your life. Hey, help me. Sorry, Ptolemy. I'm out of here. The Mars rover Spirit was launched on a Delta II rocket. Launch date was June 3rd, 2003. Spirit worked on Mars from 2004 to 2010. Spirit worked well on Mars until it got stuck in some Martian soil. It got stuck in the soil on May 1st, 2009. Here's a picture from the rover Spirit it took shortly after it got stuck in the soil. Final transmission date, May 1st, 2009. NASA kept trying to get Spirit unstuck until 2010, but quit trying after Memorial Day weekend of 2010. Well, you win some and you lose some. Perhaps someday you'll be one of those first Earthlings to step on Mars and live there as well. But only time will tell what we Earthlings will find when we look up in the night sky and beyond our galaxy.